Good morning to my little tomato seedlings. Some are very tall, some are smaller. We have some peppers there, a bunch of different things. Then there's some more tomato seedlings. And more tomato seedlings. So I have about 12 different varieties. 10 I used last year, 2 I got from the dollar store. These guys are 2 months old. They just got potted up into their own little spaces so their roots can have their own spaces to grow before they start living outside. When I did that, I gave them some fertilizer, so I already noticed some new growth coming in. So that's good. So let's see how this all started. I started these seeds 2 months ago in March. Let's take a look how it all began. Hi, welcome to my lovely city garden. What's up? Today we're in my kitchen. It's St. Patrick's Day and we're going to start our tomatoes. I'm doing 12 different varieties this year. I know, I'm overdoing it like I always do. But I'm going to do the 10 I did last year and a couple of extras that I got at the dollar store. Now let's have some fun. Today I'm going to be using containers to start my seeds. Been working out pretty well using these muffin containers to start a bunch of seeds, and then I'm going to, as they grow, I'll move them on to the next stage. But it just saves a lot of room, and the way it makes a little mini greenhouse is perfect. So I'll prepare those, and when I do prepare these, is just drill some holes on the top and the bottom for drainage and the top to get some air. I use a drill, but you can use whatever you have on hand. Use a nail, use a knife, whatever. Just make sure that there's enough drainage holes. You don't want the water to stay at the bottom of the container and possibly mess with the roots. And I'm using 2 different ones right now to go through. The other ones I already have prepared, and it works perfectly that way. Now I'm going to get rid of all the little pieces of plastic that's left on here, and I'm going to prep the soil. Whenever I start my seeds, I like to go through my soil, crumble it up, and get rid of all the little pieces of bark, big pieces. This is going to help get rid of all the big things, so when the seeds are trying to germinate, nothing will be on top, prohibiting them to get through. Now they do sell seed starting mix. It's more expensive than potting soil, and it won't have all these big pieces of bark, but I don't mind doing this. It's much cheaper, and I can still use this later on when I'm after seed starting. It's not like this is going to go to waste. So I'm just going to go through and get all of this sifted off, and then once it's sifted, I'll just moisten it up a little bit and get it into the containers. So now instead of this, with all the big pieces in it, we end up with this. Nice. Okay. And it's fun to do. See? It's like playing outside in the dirt with your old sifter you used to have. I don't know if you did, but I did. I used to love playing in the dirt. Alright. So that's going to be enough for what I'm doing today. I'm going to fill a couple of containers. And the next thing I like to do when I'm starting seeds is to make sure the soil is nice and moist. That way when the seeds go in and I water them in, they don't move around. So this is a little dry. I squeeze it, it falls apart. I don't like that. I only need a little bit more water because this is not that dry. And in the nature of playing in the dirt, we'll just use my hands. Mix it all around. Not not gonna use that. Metal on metal, no way. Don't like the sound of that. See, I did not need much. This is perfect. You squeeze it, it stays together, don't really want to fall apart. That's perfect. It also helps when you put it into the container. It keeps that soil nice and bunched together when you kind of push it down. So I'm going to fill my containers. I know I mentioned before, but the biggest reason I use these containers, I usually just stock them in, I've done different things in the past, mass sown in little pots or mass sown in little seed starting cells, but I'm finding this is working out so good, and I have them, it saves a lot of room. Even doing each one in a little container takes up a lot of room. I started my peppers already that way, some other things, so I'm going to do the tomatoes that way also. And then it works like a little, turn into a little greenhouse. Alright, so that's one. And I'm filling this all the way up to the top, because even with the dome on, it's still gonna have plenty of room for the seedlings to start to grow. Once the seedlings are growing, I will take the top off altogether so it doesn't get too warm for them. I like to pack it down a little bit, push it down a little bit, compact it a little bit. So I have 3 containers, 12 varieties, so I'm going to do 4 different varieties of tomatoes in each container. Now I've already gone ahead and made little signs, little tags for all the different varieties of tomatoes. But on top of just having the signs, I want to also give them their own little sections within the containers. So I'm using these old lines that I have. They break pretty easily. To show you closer, like I did in that one, I try to do my best to get into the middle of the container, and then the middle of this side, and the middle of this side. Now the middle container, we bought the muffins at a different store, and they had individual little spots for the muffins. So instead of planting the seeds on this side, I decided to use this, which was the top of the container, for the seeds, and then this can just be the dome, because this has much more room at the bottom. Now there's a little cone in the middle, so this one I'm going to break up into 4 squares. Alright, I'll decide which ones are going in each container and add the little labels. So I was going to originally separate them by sort of their type, but there's so, like, I have cherry and regular, I guess that's the 2 different type. But what I'm going to do is basically go by the germination rate. 5 to 7 days, 5 to 7 days, 7 to 14 days, 5 to 14 days, 5 to 10 days. So I'll go through and figure out the best way to sow them, because I want them to kind of all germinate at the same time, since they're all in the same container. And generally I like to take off that cover when they start to pop up. 3 to 10 days, that's really early. So I'll do that, and we'll put the little tags that I already wrote out I just got to put the dates on it. So today is March 17th. Starting the tomatoes. So I'm going to write those all down and separate them into where they'll go in each container. And we'll put them, and then we'll get to sow in the seeds. Okay, that took a minute, but I got it done. I basically have them broken down by their germination rate. These are the fastest, 5 to 7 days. These are about 7 to 14 days. And then this one was kind of all over the place. So that's kind of the catch-all. So in this one, we're going to have Cherokee Purple, Brandywine Pink, Valencia, and the Dollar Tree Roma Tomato. That's new this year because the Romas I had last year didn't do great. This one we have Virginia Sweets, Yellow Pear, Chocolate Cherry, and Rosa Sicilian. Black Crim, Green Zebra, San Marzano, and the red cherry that I got from the Dollar Tree. Let's go over the varieties. I got 12 of them. 10 of them I grew all last year. Some of them did awesome. Some of them didn't do so awesome. But I'm not going to give up on those varieties. I still want to try them this year because it could be where they were in the garden, or the fact that it was wicked hot last year and there was just too many hot days in a row. I think that could have had a lot to do with some of the poor production I had in some of my tomatoes. So let's go over what we're growing. So this is a Black Crim. I got maybe 1 or 2 of them and they weren't very big. Green Zebra. They were delicious. They had like sort of a citrus taste. They didn't get very large. I had about 3 plants of them. Only a couple of them produced anything, and they were about this big, but they were very good. So again, not giving up, even though some of them were poor producers. And speaking of poor producers, my Roma tomato of this pack of 10 that I got is called the San Marzano, and these are a determinate tomato, which means they don't grow like regular tomatoes where they'll start to grow and they'll continue to grow throughout the whole season. These, they wait till the end of the season and grow all at the same time. So throughout the season, I would end up getting a couple and thinking, all right, that's the end of it. That's not very good. But towards the end of the year, I ended up getting a few more on some of the plants. So I'm could be where they were. Again, not giving up on them, but I also bought another variety of Roma in this other section at the Dollar Tree, just in case these seeds were sort of a dud. Because I do want to make some sauce with the tomatoes that I get, and the Roma tomato was supposed to be the best for that. And the other variety is a red cherry tomato. I have a chocolate cherry that I had from last year, and also a yellow pear for the smaller type tomatoes. The yellow pear did awesome, but I didn't have any red, so I like red cherries, so I decided to grab this. The Virginia Sweets. These did not do anything for me last year. So again, not giving up. I'm gonna try these again. This was the yellow pear. I had 4 different varieties I did 4 plants of the yellow pear last year. Only one of them produced a lot. I had a second one that was starting to look good, but then eventually it just did not look so great. And then the chocolate cherry, I got 0 chocolate cherry. All the ones I planted as chocolate cherry came out as yellow pear. Now it could be that I messed up when I planted the seeds last year. I don't think so, because I mocked them all ahead of the time and I went seed pack by seed pack, so I doubt it, but I'm interested to see if again they come up as yellow pear. And these are the Rosa Sicilian. These were delicious. They looked as beautiful as this, with the cute little wrinkles and like little red pumpkins. They didn't get very large, but that's okay, because again, they were delicious. They did very well, and knock on wood, none of them had blossom end rot, which happened a lot in a lot of my tomatoes, but not with the Roseau Sicilian. So, yep, that's those 4 in here. And then the last 4, the Cherokee Purple, these did very well. I had them in a container and also in the ground. They did well throughout the season. Got a lot of blossom end rot on these. They never actually got purple, but if you look at the picture, that don't look purple either. But they were very good. And I did end up with a lot of them towards the end of the season. Brandywine Pink. For the whole season, I thought that these did not do very well. But with the amount of greens on them towards the end of the season, I eventually got so many tomatoes off these plants. And I think I had about 6 out there. And as the season went on, some died off. But you couldn't tell. A couple died off because the section was humongous. But I ended up with a lot of them. And they were delicious too. These were another one that I didn't get any blossom end rot on them. These are called the Valencia. They were the first ones to become ripe on the vine for me. And one of the last ones I was still harvesting. I didn't get a ton. Again, none of my tomato plants got a ton as far as each individual tomato plant. But these I thought came out looking the best as far as no blossom end rot, nothing looking bad on them. And they were the earliest and also very delicious. Brandywine Pink. Oh, and then the last one is, I already spoke about it earlier, is the second type of Romo tomato I want to try, and this is from the Dollar Tree. So we'll see how this goes. So I already checked ahead of time, read the back of the packages, and all of these tomatoes seeds need to be planted 1/4 of an inch to a 1/2 inch deep. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to kind of mass sow them. I don't want to do a ton of them because I don't want to end up with so many tomatoes. I do want to make sure that I'm going to end up with enough to grow outside. So I'm going to get that started, and I'll pull you a little bit closer so you can see the action. I'm just going to make a little spot for them. I have like a pencil would be perfect, but I don't right now, so do that. All right, start with black creme. I'm gonna do 5. Maybe we'll do 6 each variety. Yeah, cover them. Green zebra. Come on. Okay, so green zebra, there's about 8 of them. So this one, I must have sown a lot of the seeds last year. Again, I was trying to do a lot to make a sauce at the end of the year, but there's only like 5 of these left. So I'm glad I bought the other pack. These are brand new and I have a ton of seeds. So I'm gonna go a little nuts, and I can always just put them in containers. I don't have enough room in the garden. All right, Virginia Sweets. Not a lot of seeds here either. That's all I have. 1, 2, 3, 4. Chocolate cherry. These are the ones I never got any chocolate cherries. They will all just be, or just all yellow pear, which are very good, but there's a bunch of these, so. Two, three, four, oh, 6 of them in here. Birds are going crazy. Those are done. What's next? Yellow pear and Rosa Sicilian. So we'll come down here to Rosa Sicilian. And there's a lot of seeds here, so I'm going to try to do a bunch. Yeah. That might be too many, but I really liked these. And yellow pear. Alright, that's that one. Bamos. Alright. And we have Cherokee purple. These might not be a ton of these either because I was excited about having purple tomatoes last year. And I probably did all of them. I didn't. So I have about 8 of them. Brandywine pink. I did a bunch of those. 1, 2, 3, so I did 10. Might be too many, but they're pretty good big tomatoes, so it'd be like my beefsteak tomato. I don't know if it's classified as that, but they were definitely the biggest. Valencia. I like these, so I have a lot. Yep, got a bunch of these, so another one I'll go heavy with. There's about 9 of those. And the last one is going to be this other aroma. And I'm going to go heavy with this one too because I didn't have a lot of the other one left over. That's enough. Alright, I'm going to double check with my glasses that I have them all buried, and I'm going to grab my water bottle so we can water them all in. Even though the soil is moist, I want to make sure I moisten up those seeds so they germinate even faster. I got it all watered in. I'm going to cover the containers, turn them into little mini greenhouses, which number 1 helps hold in the moisture so I don't have to keep watering, and number 2, nice and warm so they germinate even faster. 12 different varieties, all in 3 little containers. I'm going to put them under my grow lights. Once they stop, the seedlings stop popping up, I'm going to take the covers off. When they're growing, I'll pop them up into their own containers to grow on. Thank you so much for watching. Have an awesome day. Peace. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Cheers.